Hi, David.
Hi, it's Stephanie.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm great. So tell me how to pronounce your name.
Toguchi.
Toguchi. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. In the video, it says that your brother, Ron, was in the military.
Rob.
Is he still in it?
Rob is out of the military. He
Wow.
got out, I want to say 4 years ago, 3 years ago. hmm
And your father was a pilot? Was he with the Army?
So my dad lives in Southern Pines. He's currently retired, 30 years, active duty. He was a combat engineer when he first joined, and then he moved into a functional area for strategic planning, and now he works for USASOC as a senior concept developer.
Wow. So you had a lot of shoes to fill. So as a child,
Yes,
you were thinking that you weren't ready.
I definitely felt like I wasn't ready, right? I went through school and did very poorly. I mean, I remember sitting in a math class one time, went through the whole class. Well, this is multiple times, but in particular, one class session, and I learned absolutely nothing. I sat through that whole class. About 5 minutes into it, I realized I had learned nothing from that whole experience. That experience would happen through my high school years. I remember going to like every math class I took each year. And it just was, for the first 15 minutes, I could pay attention, but then past it, I was like, man, this is really tough.
Did you get tested for ADHD or that type of
I
thing?
did. I did. And technically, I was diagnosed with ADHD at a young age, but I got a waiver for it when I joined the Army. So you can't be a pilot with ADHD, right?
Right.
So I had to get a waiver. I had to go see a psychologist, and they did multiple tests on me to prove that I just did not have it at the end of it. That was a waiver process to be a pilot. And that's kind of common. You'll see a lot of pilots. They all have to have some type of medical waiver because it's a very small gap that you have to fill to be healthy or determined qualified physically. And so many of the pilots you see, at least one of them, at least all of them, have one waiver in some sort or way or another.
It sounds like you
Oh
really
yeah,
retrained your whole brain to
I
get what
did.
you wanted.
I did. Yeah. So I wouldn't take ADHD medication, right? You can't take that if you're in the Army. You can't take it for a few amount, like a couple of years. So I didn't take it for like 8 years before joining the military. So I literally had to retrain my brain, right? When I was in elementary school, they would give me, ADHD medication, and it would be a good supplement. But when I decided to get rid of it, because I knew I couldn't be in the Army if I was taking it, I had to retrain my brain, like you're saying, and it was tough, right? I really, the biggest thing that helped me to focus more, it was focusing at the end goal. Like, what did I want out of this? Where do I want to be? And just surrounding myself with the right people. My brother was a big support system, and just like giving it my all. If I was gonna fail, I was gonna fail. My own time I graduated from Union Pines High School. I go to Union High School. I'm going there again here in 2 weeks to go speak to the students, just because I love giving back to my community. I remember being in their shoes. I can absolutely relate to the students and how they feel. And when you receive a grade that is just not, it just doesn't look good, and you can really internalize that and feel like, man, I really can't accomplish a lot. And my goal is to go talk to college students, to go talk to young students and say, hey, don't let the grade define you. You can absolutely do anything you put your mind to. I was not a successful student. I did not see myself as a smart individual, but I pushed forward and I said, I'm going to give it my all. And if it works out, praise God. And if it doesn't, at least I can look at myself and say, I gave it my best. Right. And so a few things I hit on with students is like, a lot of students just don't know what they want to do. Right. That's just how it is. When they're in high school, they're like, I don't know what I want to do when I get older. And that's completely acceptable. Like, I wouldn't expect that. And so I always encourage them. I say, hey, the military was a great option for me. It paid for my school. It gave me a professional career, gave me a resume, and it gave me a strong character. I gained resilience. I just improved leadership and mentally. And then I tell them, hey, hang out with the right people. I'm always big advocate of you are the average of who you hang out with, right? And then I always say, believe in something, whether that's yourself or your faith in God or whatever that may be. Like, have something to fall back on with your faith. Don't give up, and believe in yourself, right? So I kind of talk about those things all the time. I love doing that because I wish I had that when I was in their shoes.